Xiaomi is very well known for setting the bar high and being the gold standard when it comes to price to performance ratios, especially for their budget and mid-range products. What is up guys? My name is Anton and don't mind the light over here, wala talagang space sa kwarto ko. Pero today we are going to be looking at the Redmi Note 11. Now, we do have an unboxing and first impressions of this device, and I remember being quite impressed with the camera performance and the quality of the screen you're getting for the price we're paying. The full release of this device is coming quite soon, so let's take a quick look and see if this phone is perfect for you. So let's first jump into the design of this phone. Now, this is the base Redmi Note 11 and it does come in at 8,999 pesos. Now, this graphite gray colorway on this device does feature a matte black plastic back panel. Now, it does also feature plastic side rails that are now flattened out and squared off, which is a personal preference of mine because my fingertips have a nice place to rest, and it does give a more grippy feeling as compared to the curved designs of previous generations and the curved designs of many modern smartphones. Now, if we check the top of the device, we do have a 3.5mm jack, a top firing speaker, and an IR blaster so you can control your TV, your electric fan, your aircon from the comfort of your device. Now, if we take a look at the right-hand side, we can find the volume rockers as well as a side-mounted fingerprint reader that doubles as your power button. Now, I do prefer this as well over an under-display fingerprint reader, mainly because it's much easier to find. You can open it as you're bringing up your phone to your face, and it will be unlocked already. So that side-mounted fingerprint reader is something that I really appreciate. Now, on the left-hand side, we can find the dual SIM slot as well as a micro SD expandable storage on this device. Now, if we make our way towards the bottom, we can find the microphone, the USB-C charging port, and the bottom firing speaker. Yes, this has two speakers, so it does have a stereo loudspeaker experience. Now, for the screen, we are getting a 6.43-inch 90Hz AMOLED screen with a resolution of 1080 by 2400, and we do have a selfie cutout design for this device. Now, the bezels are quite slim on the top and the sides, but the bottom chin, of course, does have some thickness to it. Now, that's about it for the physicality of the device, so let's move on to performance. Now, this device does have a 6nm Snapdragon 680, which is a great upgrade from last year's Redmi Note 10, which had an 11nm processor. Now, in terms of memory, this base model does have 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of internal storage, and it comes in at 8,999 pesos, while the larger 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage does come in at 9,999 pesos. Now, you should ask yourself if that 1,000 pesos is worth it for you, as you do have expandable storage on this device along with a dual SIM. Now, when it comes to software, this phone is running Xiaomi's skin over Android 11. Now, Xiaomi's skin for Android is one of my preferred skins because it does have that very nice bokeh or blur effect when you access the control panel. Now, speaking about the control panel, another neat UI trick is that when you scroll down from the top right, you access your control panel, while scrolling down from the top left portion of the screen, you get your notifications. I do appreciate that they separated these two so that when I make changes in my settings, I am not bombarded with notification clutter. Now, the overall software experience I had on this phone was pretty good. It was smooth scrolling with that 90Hz refresh rate, but when having any background applications running or installing other apps from the Play Store, you do notice that the phone is struggling quite a bit. There is noticeable lag when you scroll with background apps running. But when you are focusing on a single app, consuming content on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, you do get that full 90Hz experience, especially when scrolling through. I did notice a certain quirk is that Google Chrome is locked to 60Hz no matter what site I enter puro 60 Hz talaga siya, and I assume that will be fixed in a future software update. Now, in terms of gaming, we are getting an Adreno 610 GPU, so gaming on this device is not too shabby. When it comes to low performance, highly competitive games like Mobile Legends, League of Legends, Wild Rift, and Pokemon Unite, I have absolutely no complaints, as this device performed relatively smoothly, even with higher frame rates. But you do notice a huge step back when it comes to more demanding games, such as Asphalt 9 and Genshin Impact, where you will have to sacrifice some graphical fidelity if you want higher frame rates. So if you take gaming seriously on your mobile device, this specific model of the Note 11 might not be for you. Now onto the camera experience. The Redmi Note 11 comes with a 50 megapixel main shooter, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 2 megapixel depth and macro lens. Now, when I did unbox this device, I was really impressed with the main shooter's performance, as it did produce really good sharp shots that compared with my mid-range OnePlus 8. So I was really impressed with this budget device and what the camera could do. But when I did take it out to a real-life setting, I was slightly disappointed. As you can see, color reproduction is still great. Photos are nice and punchy with decent detail and sharpness, but as soon as you zoom in, you do get that typical noise that you get from budget devices. Now, the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera does take a large hit in terms of detail and sharpness when you're taking your photos, but that increased FOV is incredibly useful if you want to fit more into your frame. Now, the 13 megapixel front shooter, the selfie camera, does produce quite a soft and a bit noisy shot, but with ideal lighting and a little fidgeting, making sure that your face is in focus, does produce very good shots that you can post on social media. Now, low light performance on this device isn't that great, as it does produce quite a noisy and soft shot, but it does come in handy, especially at night when you do need a brighter photo. I myself am just happy that the option is there. Now, in terms of video taking on this phone, we are locked at 1080p 30 FPS for both the front and back camera. Now, as you can see with the back camera, we do get a little bit of electronic image stabilization, so it can take care of those micro jitters that you have in your hands while taking a video. Now, when taking said video, quality does degrade quickly when you zoom in, as it does zoom in digitally, and when you switch over to the wide angle camera, you do take a massive hit in sharpness and detail. So if you're gonna take a video, I recommend just keeping it on the 50 megapixel main shooter at 1x, as it does produce quite a decent image for your videos. Overall, the main shooter does shine more than the other cameras on this device, and it is good enough, especially for quick snaps on your day out. Now onto the battery of this device, we do get a 5000 milliamp hour cell. If you pair that 5000 milliamp hour cell with a smaller 6 nanometer CPU, you do get extended battery life compared to the previous Note 10, and you can even extend that much longer if you reduce the screen refresh rate from 90 Hz to 60 Hz to maximize that battery life. We also have two different power saving modes, as well as an ultra power saving mode that does limit your phone functionality to maximize battery life. Now, this phone does charge relatively fast with the 33-watt charger included in the box, so you can charge that 5000 milliamp hour cell to 100% in just about an hour. So those were my thoughts on the Redmi Note 11, so I'll just leave you with a biggest pro and biggest con before I end the video. Let's start off with the biggest con on this device, which is, I think, most definitely the camera experience. The 8 megapixel ultra-wide does lack some sharpness and detail, especially when you're just trying to take a quick snap. And now the 2 megapixel macro does provide some good detail despite being 2 megapixels, but these are camera lenses that I don't really use that often, let alone a day-to-day basis. But don't get me wrong, that 50 megapixel main shooter is quite decent, dare I say great, with good lighting conditions. So they're definitely shareable for your social media, so don't get me wrong about that. Now for the biggest pro on this device, which I think Xiaomi does really well with their budget devices, is that they focused on the specs that you care about the most, or what you see the most. I'm really happy that they finally brought high refresh rate AMOLED screens to this price range, as it will set the bar for future budget smartphones. I'm really happy to see that in a sub 10,000 peso phone. Now, this is complemented by that 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Paired with a 6nm chip, you can be sure that battery efficiency is much better than last year's Redmi Note 10, giving you much longer battery life with this device. Now, I can definitely recommend this device, especially if you are getting into a good entry-level smartphone. So that was the Redmi Note 11. Now keep posted on the Redmi Note 11S and Redmi Note 11 Pro 5G videos coming out on this channel very soon. Now, what do you think about this video? What do you think about the new line of Redmi Note phones? Make sure to leave a comment down below so we know what you think. Don't forget to leave a like, a sub, and make sure to hit that notification bell button to stay updated with the next video here at Unbox. Once again, my name is Anton, and I'll see you next time.